Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Dr. Cloud Show. I am your host, and I'm glad to be here. I hope you're glad to be here. I hope that you are having a good day wherever you are. It's another sunny Southern California day here, and wherever you are, finding us around the globe, and whatever time you're tuning in, I'm glad that you made it. The cool thing about this whole technology world where I used to do live radio, and if you weren't there right at that moment, you couldn't hear it, right? You're going to miss it. But now you can listen around the clock. So I don't know what time you're listening to this, but I hope it's not to cure insomnia. But anyway, it's glad to have you. I'm glad to have you. This is the program, if you are new, where we talk about all sorts of stuff in life that relate to our relationships, whether there's pains or victories there, or next hurdles or obstacles, or, kind of hairballs to unravel. We talk about how we feel, talk about the clinical stuff, depressions and anxieties and fears and stress and all that kind of stuff. And then an area that, as you know, I've talked about this a lot, that I really, really love to hang out in, and that is the performance side of life, reaching our goals, the science of goals, how goals work, how do we get stuck, how do we get to the next level, all of that kind of stuff. So that's what I want to talk to you about. I got to give you a number if you do that. It's 844-940-2774. That is 844-940-2774 to get on the program. So I want to hear from you. And I also need you to do something where, I say this every now and then. I'll remind you again. We have really loved doing this show. Our team has loved it. They love talking to you. They love interacting with you. We get to see you on Facebook. And the thing I love is the community that's building. And my hat's off to you for how you're supporting each other and coming alongside each other and sharing your wisdom with each other. I get to log in every now and then to the Facebook comments and other places, and it's just really cool to see the kinds of people that are in this audience, in this community. So really love seeing you there. And also, I do want to talk to you, so I'm gonna give the phone number again. 844-940-2774 is the number. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, in the big picture, we never know, because I don't know kind of, who's going to call and what you're going to say. But I always start out with talking about a little bitty something. And what I want to talk about today for a moment is something we've passed by it a little bit in a few earlier shows, but I ran into it again this morning in a consulting scenario that I was talking with some people about, and there was a leader there that asked the question, um, "How do you go about the process of becoming emotionally healthy or whole if you don't know how to do that?" And it's a good question. Emotional health, a lot of times people, particularly on the performance, people in the business and all that kind of stuff, they, oh, emotions, that's for wusses, or, that's psychobabble, or, you got to get tough and all this. But I work with high performers, and I mean, CEOs of global public companies, for example, and other high performers. And I'm telling you, most of that work at the higher end of performance is really about their own emotional management, emotional regulation, and being able to use the positive emotions that they have and can generate, and not letting the negative ones derail them. And even in negotiations and decision making and all of that, how the role of our emotions come into making us better. And so it's really important. So when you start to ask the question, well, how do you become emotionally healthy, emotionally mature, emotionally whole, as we would say? Well, think about this. And not a lot of people think about this, but it's something we need to think about. And that is this. When you build anything, when you build anything, how do you do it? you have to have some sort of a structure to build the process itself, to build whatever you're building. For example, when you frame a house, that's what you do. You pour down the slab and then you 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 build this structure. It's a frame to the house. But to build the frame, what do? They put scaffolding up to structure the building of the structure. Now your personality, your makeup, that's the structure of who you are. That's how you're built. It's how you're glued together. But that doesn't come along into existence without some sort of structured process to build that. So I want to talk a little bit about the role of structure in becoming emotionally healthy. Now, basically, when we think about structure, what we're really talking about is we're really talking about time and place, for one thing. We structure our lives according to time and place, and, the structure of days and nights and weeks and seasons. And we have structures of, this is a training structure or routine or boot camp, or the structure of certain activities that we're going to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat until we get it down. All of that structure, what it is it's a path. Now I'm sitting here in our backyard, and there's some plants around here. We've got some citrus trees, and they're up and they're thriving now and they're producing fruit. But when they were little, or you take the roses or whatever, some of the, probably the bougainvillea, and what do you have? A lattice, you have a structure, so it can grow and shape and form in a certain way. That's what discipline does. It's a structured process. How many of you have ever thought about the structured process to become emotionally healthy? And think about that. If you're going to get in shape, trainer sits down and you come up with a structured process. If you're going to get joint replacement surgery, which I'm headed for, I got to get a good knee. They have a structured rehab process to get that, healthy again. If you're going to learn a discipline, you're going to become a doctor, there's a structured curriculum and training process. Your emotional health is exactly the same way. So think about it. How about at a time and a place to start with? Why don't you have the structure of, I'm going to have a week, or I'm going to have a time, an hour or something once every week, where I sit down with somebody professionally, or maybe even a friend or a coach or a mentor or a layperson. I sit down in a structured place every week, and I process how I'm processing life. I look at my thinking, I look at my feelings. That's one exercise in the structure. How about a group that I go to, or a couples group if you're married, or an individual group, or a recovery group, or a structured reading path? See, getting our equipment to where it can process and regulate life and perform well emotionally takes a structure to the process, just like anything else. Just like anything else. So, what I'd like for you is think about a structured process. It's different for everybody. It's different at different seasons in life. When I was in training, for example, and I in graduate school, I think I had 4 different things I had to do all the time. I had to go to individual therapy, I had group therapy, I had a lab that was a processing lab about all the stuff that you were going through and all this. And then there were, some other kind of more informational structured growth kind of things we had to go to. Very, very structured program. I continued that after graduate school. I continued with the same individual therapist for about 15 years. I would have to drive an hour and a half one way to get there. It was that important to me. It was that much of an investment. I had a small group that we were together about 12 years. And then after I got married, we are in a couples group that's been together for about 15 years and other kinds of things. So I'm telling you all that I'm not saying, woo, I did a good job. That's not what I mean. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be walking around healthy as at least as I am. I mean, I don't know what the picture of health, but emotionally, but I'm happy and my life's working. And from a time when it wasn't, and I've written about this and going through deep depression and stuff. Without the structured process like that, I don't know if I would have made it. It's important. So I'm waving the flag up here, not only as a psychologist, but as somebody that's had to walk through a lot of stuff and be healed and all of that. And I'm just sharing with you the way that it works. So don't be on the self-help program. Get you a path, get you a plan. Boundaries.me is a pretty good piece of that plan for those of you who need a structured set of things to go think about and work on. There's lots of stuff out there available. You can ask your friends, what do they do? But just treat your emotional health like something that should be invested in with time and energy and resources, because it will pay dividends that you can't even come close to imagining. Okay, that's our little word for the day. Our number, and I want to talk to you, is 844-940-2774. We're going to go to Adriana and talk to her about, it looks like some sort of a long distance relationship, which Adriana, you and I have a long distance relationship. How's it working for you so far?
Which one? The one with the other person? It's been
No,
challenging. A lot of it is no.
no, you and me. We have this long distance. You're calling in from El Paso. That's a long distance relationship, and we seem to be doing okay. Of course, we're not very
So
far
far,
into it.
yes.
We haven't had our first fight yet. So tell me about this long distance relationship and what your question is.
We met 3 months ago in his hometown, and ever since then we've been talking, and we agreed that we were going to be friends. The communication was very consistent, almost on a daily basis. We've had a
How
lot of
far away is his
commonalities.
town? How far away is he?
Uh, he's about 8 hours driving, maybe two by
8 hours.
flight. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So we've connected a lot, but I felt like I needed to start guarding my heart after like the first month, because I felt like it was not healthy that I have a connection with somebody who it's not, settled if he's going to come back. The city where I'm from, that's his original hometown. So he has family here, etc. He visits my hometown recently. I have a conversation with him, and he has me in limbo. He didn't give me a direct answer that he plans to move back, which broke my heart because I don't like to, waste time, right? I'm like, well,
Yeah.
to me, it sounds like,
So
we're getting emotionally
so
attached.
when you use the word friendship, and you guys are going to be friends, it sounds like it was maybe a little more than friends or different than friends. You've got
Correct.
romantic interests, right?
Of, yes. So it started as a friendship, like, hey, hey, you seem like a nice
Yeah.
friend. And that was the agreement, like when we started communicating, because I came back to my
Okay.
hometown. But because of the connection, it just became more like we're dating.
On both
So,
sides. On both sides. On both sides?
oh, absolutely. Yes. Equally.
Okay.
Yes. Uh-huh.
All right. So what is your question?
Uh, should I continue to invest in this long distance parenthesis dating that potentially, has the potential to be a relationship? Um, or should I just keep putting my boundaries and my distance?
Well,
And the reason why I'm saying potential.
what was the thing that he said that caused you to hit pause? What did he say? Just he wasn't moving back there?
He goes back and forth. It's not just
But is
the
that the
idea that I
main
live here.
issue, or is it any kind of interest level on his part? Is he waning? I don't know if I want to go further. I don't know if I like you. I don't know if we're more than friends. Or is it that he just doesn't know where he wants to live?
So his main thing is that the economy in that city has a lot more potential. Like, and it's a bigger city than where I live. You know, this is his original hometown where I'm at. Um,
Yeah.
he wanted to come back. All his family wants him to come back. His sisters, his siblings.
Okay.
But
But he doesn't know if he wants to come back. So you're saying your question is, well, should you continue talking to him not knowing that or not?
correct, because he also told me like, hey, like indirectly, like maybe you can move here and we can work together here because we work in the same field. But I feel like it's risky to keep investing time if he's gonna have me in limbo. Does that make sense?
Well, I don't know if he has you in limbo. You are in a situation that has limbo. Okay. If I were ever feeling like somebody's kind of dangling me in limbo, like he's really doing that in a manipulative way, then I'd cut and run for sure, right? So what you have to figure out here, there are scenarios. Here's kind of the gamut of things, right? There there are
Yeah.
scenarios where people I, anybody hear noises? I hear noises.
No,
Are you
no.
still there? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
There are situations where people meet long distance, they establish a relationship and they build a relationship, and it gets to the place where they kind of figure, wow, this is serious, and this is um this is something we both want. All right. And when you get to that place, something happens. If it gets to that place where what must move to the top? The we. Very important principle here. Okay. If you
Okay.
ever got serious, if you guys got to the place where you said, we know we want to be with each other, okay, then your individual lives get subservient to the relationship. Your individual careers exist, they're great, but they better bend the knee to the relationship. So, what gets really, really at the top of the pyramid, if you guys were going to get engaged and and be together or whatever, you look at your individual lives with the question of not what's best for me, what's best for us, and what kind of life do we want to build together, and where's the best place to do that. Sometimes it's in this city where his work is. Sometimes it's in another city because that's
Right.
where family is. But all of those things get to be decided based on how important the relationship is. So if you feel like, and you guys get to a place where you feel like, you know, the relationship's never going to be number one, it's always going to be about somebody's career, that's pretty shaky ground to build something significant on. And so what you might want to do is just have a conversation, and you're not asking them to commit to anything, but you can just say,
Right.
I've been thinking about this, and I really have. I mean, our relationship has gone to a place that I wasn't expecting it to go here, and I'm open to exploring kind of like the next. I'm not saying anybody should move at all, but kind of the next
Right.
level. Is that what you're interested in? And let's figure out what would that look like, apart from anybody moving or not moving. But you got to get a very clear answer from him. Not that he wants to marry you or anything, but does he want to
Correct.
take it to the next level? And that might mean we do drive every now and then and see each other, and we spend more time together, and we get to know each other better. That would be a next level in between an either or. But if you feel like you're getting dangled, okay, in limbo, and you're just kind of like a convenience to him, then this is a lot more brain damage, long distance to be a convenience to somebody. So I hope that's helpful to you. Thank you for your call. And I would look at having a real frank conversation. Where does he think it's going? Do you want to go into kind of like the next level? And how do we do that without anybody moving? But at some point, at some point, both people have to realize, and there comes this moment in a relationship where, and I'm not talking about the DTR talk, are we dating or not? Are we exclusive? I'm talking about after that. And, it gets to a place where, this is it, or you don't. And at some point, when that happens, that's really where the relationship better be the thing that's most important to both people. Because I'm going to tell you, if anybody sees a marriage existing just to meet their needs in either direction, that marriage is going to collapse. A marriage was not designed to meet an individual's needs only. Individuals must come underneath the highest value and the highest goal of that relationship, and that is the relationship. And we both are going to meet the needs of the marriage first, and then also this relationship has got to make sure each one of our individual needs get met. But those are different. You got three different stakeholders in every relationship. You got, you got two spouses, and you got a marriage. And that marriage has got to get the most attention, or the highest attention, I should say. And then individuals have to have their needs met too. Okay. Hope that's helpful. 844-940-2774. 844-940-2774. It is the quandary of every relationship in life. Every relationship. There just isn't one that this doesn't exist in. It's like, it's like light. Is light a particle or a wave? Yes, it's both. Is a relationship about the we or the me? Yeah, both. The we has got to be healthy, but if the we suffocates any of the two me's, it's not going to work either. So that's why relationships require the maturity for us to be able to set our own comfort aside for a moment and not make it God, where we are worshiping at the altar of me being happy and me being comfortable, but we're putting the relationship first. And sometimes each of us are going to have to go through some discomfort for that to be. And sometimes for each individual to be happy and get their needs met, the other one's going to have to go through some discomfort for that to happen. My wife and I were just talking before the program. I'm headed for a knee replacement, hopefully before too long, if Corona lets me do that. I was supposed to have it last month. I can't really walk very well anymore. My knee's torn up so bad. And we were talking about this is going to be a huge disruption in a lot of things. It's going to take a while, and there's rehab, and I'm going to have to fly somewhere probably to have it done, and there's going to be a lot of, and we're talking about things that she's got to adjust and stuff. Family's got to adjust for all this. For me, really, kind of mostly, so I can walk and be out of pain and have a life. Sometimes we do that. And other times I do that for her and her needs. But both of us have got to make the team work. There's no I in team, right? So we all have to remember that in whatever kind of relationship we find ourselves in. 844-940-2774 is our number. I love Pennsylvania. Angel, I think you're from Pennsylvania. I don't know if I've ever met a bad person from Pennsylvania. They're just I married a Pennsylvania family. I go back there and I've played golf at great courses back there in Pennsylvania. The people are incredible. So, Angel, I am sure you're one of those. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How can I help you?
There's a lot of things going on in my family.
Try to put it into a question.
Dad. Okay. Okay. What
Hey,
the main thing
hey,
for
Angel,
today would, yes,
go ahead. If you got a question, go ahead. I was gonna say if you need some time,
yeah,
we can put you on hold and think about it, and I can bring you back.
yeah. No, the main thing today is how do I get my daughter to stop stealing from me? She's very, she has, she
Hey,
has very,
I was not
she's very,
expecting that.
no,
I'm sorry.
I
Simple
know.
answer.
She is
Simple
very, she
answer.
has a very
Angel,
anxious,
stop. This is easy. Stop, stop, stop. Lock your stuff up. That'll do it every time.
yeah, it's
Now
when
tell
she
me,
comes home, so like
how old is your daughter who's stealing from you?
24.
24. Well, what's she stealing and how does she do it?
I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute. You
Probably
do
when
know
she
what
goes
she's
in and
stealing
out from
from
her
you. If you
boyfriend.
know she's stealing, what is she stealing? What's
Well,
she stolen
I
from you?
went. She was home. She's stolen. She she went to steal a bag from me the other day. She stole hair products. She stole money from my parents at one time. She stole from my aunt one time.
Okay,
I'm just like,
stop, stop, stop,
I'm
stop,
like,
stop, stop, stop. Stop. Have you ever said to her, you are stealing from me. I want my stuff back. And if you ever steal from me
mhm,
again, this is what's going to happen. Have you done that?
yes,
And when she did this and this and this happen like you promised her?
yes.
Oh, well then, if the consequences were big enough,
Now
what were the
she's still
consequences?
doing it, and I gotta.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
I'm
What
thinking
were the
about.
what were the consequences? You said if you steal from me again, A, B, and C is going
And
to happen. What were the
well,
consequences?
the one consequence, she's been staying over with her boyfriend. I didn't let her come home for X number of months. Um,
Well,
next
apparently
time
that
she
didn't
came home,
bother her.
she stole again.
So there, you learned that that didn't
Um,
work. So did you
nope.
up the consequences from there?
I I'm at a standstill sort of right now. I mean, I've shut off her phone, all this and that, because she's still on my phone plan. But she
Why?
needed it for a job right now. She needs it for some legal things that are going on from something that happened with her grandfather back in November.
Okay.
It's a mess.
Well, Angel, um, there are things there are there are things in life. There's a lot of different kinds of boundaries, right? A lot of different kind of requirements
Right,
we have
right,
in relationships. Okay.
right,
There are
right.
some that fall under the category of what we call permission to play.
Mhm,
Permission to play kinds of values.
mhm,
Okay. For
mhm,
example, if you are going to if you're going to own a car and drive a car, there are permission to play in that game requirements that you have to meet. You have to have a license, you have to have insurance, you can't have outstanding
right,
warrants, all that kind of stuff. Okay. There are certain
right.
things that are permission to play in our relationship with an adult child of me helping you
Mhm,
or even being in a relationship. And not stealing from me should be one of the permission to play things. And
correct.
so what I would want to do is have a conversation with her and say, you know what, I've talked about this stealing thing several times and
Mhm,
it and nothing really has happened good. I mean, you haven't stopped. So here's what it's going to take for permission to play anymore. I'm not going to give you money. I'm not going to, let you come here. I'm not going to fund things or, whatever these consequences are, unless this is just one example. If this doesn't fit, don't take it, but it's going to be something like this. Unless you apologize for what you've done, take ownership from it, and make amends. I want you to pay me back the stuff that I've asked you to not steal, and I want you to make sure I get it back. And then we can talk about some ways that we open up, start to have a relationship again with the promise that this isn't going to happen again. And so that's kind of how I would approach it. I'd say, if we're going to have a relationship, I can't have you stealing from me. And I would probably, I think, if I had, I don't know what else she's stolen, but if I had chronic, I've seen this in drug cases, for example, where addicts are stealing from parents, and the parents just had to say, if you steal from me again, I'm calling the cops. I'm gonna report you, and you're gonna probably go to jail. And they had to follow through on that. I've got a good friend who had to do that with his addict son, and his son ended up going to jail, and that's where he got sober. It's where he cleaned up. It's where he came to faith, because nothing but a good consequence is going to work out. So I would be wary about not setting down some pretty firm boundaries about stealing from mama. That's not nice. Okay. Thanks for your call. I hope that's helpful to you. If those boundaries don't fit your situation, then you got to come up with some that do. You might want to talk to a good counselor about that. 24 in stealing. Not a good plan. Come on. There's where is that I think it's in Ephesians. It's in the New Testament where where Paul's kind of getting down to basics. He says, we need to put off this old life that you had. Stop lying and stop cheating. He said, those who steal, stop stealing. Go get a job. You know, it's a good thing we're never going to have what we want in life if at least we're not qualifying in the permission to play realm. I've seen couples where they come in and they start talking about their marriage and this and the other, and I say, what kind of marriage you want to have? And they'll describe this great marriage. Well, that's what I really want to have. And I have to say, you're describing a level 10 relationship, but you're acting like a 3 person. I mean, your behavior, you can't have a satisfying, mature relationship with somebody like you. You just can't do that. You can't have a good marriage with somebody like you, somebody that yells and holds grudges and manipulates and shames somebody, or doesn't follow through on their promises, or this, that, and the other. And so when we get it, that when we are, and here's the basic formula. When we are asking for life to meet our demands, but we're not meeting the demands of life, we will never have the life that we are demanding to have. It just won't work. It won't work. Immature people ask life to meet their demands. Mature people meet the demands of life. It's kind of what I was talking about earlier, about the marriage relationship. That you want a good marriage, the marriage is going to make some demands, and we have to meet those demands. And we meet those demands, we're going to have a good relationship. You want to have a good drive out in the country today? You're quarantined. At least we can drive around, right? I hope, where you are, and get out in the sunshine. Have a good drive. But let me tell you something. If you don't meet the demands of driving, like stay on the right side of the road at some speed that your wheels don't get airborne, and that you're not weaving in oncoming traffic or wandering off into a ditch, if you don't meet those simple demands, it's not going to be a good drive. And life is like that. We just have to do what's required to have what we want to have. And so I would hope that your daughter and I'm not condemning her, I'm not shaming her, and just say, sweetheart, you are not going to be happy if you see the plan is stealing your way to happiness. It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. Sorry. 844-940-2774 is our number. We are going to talk to Sarah, who's another Canuck calling. We've had a lot of callers from Canada. Love you guys. You know what? You guys have just the greatest comedians and musicians. You really have some good ones up there. Kind of envious of that, all the long string of great comedians and musicians that come out of Canada. And Sarah, I want to talk to you, but first of all, I want to mention again a couple of things. One is I want you guys to go to boundaries.me and check it out. We've had a lot of people responding who've really found a lot of helpful info there. And so I want you to become a subscriber and join us in this community. And groups are forming on there and learning all sorts of stuff. That's boundaries.me. It's where we take the topics that we mentioned on this show and all of the stuff in life, and I can go further with you. I've got over 60 or 70 courses on there. We're loading new stuff on all the time to help navigate life's issues and problems. That's boundaries.me. And I hope to see you there. And also tell people about the program. We're going to stay here as long as people want us to do it. So we need you to share the link and tell people about it. Okay, so let's go to Canada. Sarah, welcome to the program.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good. I'm a little nervous, but I had a question for you.
Now, why are you nervous, Sarah? You're only here with thousands of people, and you're going to share these intimate details of your life with perfect strangers. Now, what in the world would be scary about that?
Yeah.
I hope you know. I hope you know I'm kidding, but we're not going to bite. It is a friendly audience. I go read their comments. They're gonna talk to you on Facebook. I guarantee you, some nice people are going to say something. So, anyway, hope you're a little less nervous now. Tell me your question.
Okay, so my question is, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but I'm in a relationship, and I find like with my boyfriend, his family kind of like stress me out in a way.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 20. I'm 25.
25, and your boyfriend is how old?
19.
19. Okay, and
yes.
How long you been together?
It's going on 8 months.
8 months. Okay. All right. So his family's kind of stressing you out.
Yeah. So in a way, like, because they all come to him, and so me, I see everything. Not like in an unhealthy way, but like, so they'll come and they'll be like, "You're spending too much time with Sarah," or like they'll come in and they're always talking to him about what he's not doing, and like it doesn't seem healthy to me. But so anyway, I ended up talking to my boyfriend. I said, "Okay, what goes on between you and your family, like that's between you and them." But then in the back of my head, I'm like,
"Ooh, Sarah, what a great sentence! You made him responsible for his relationship with his family. That was really clarifying. That's great."
But like in the back of my mind, I'm having. Oh, sorry. But in the back of my mind, I'm like panicking, and I'm like, what do they think of me? Like, what are they saying?
Because why?
I'm not sure. I think we do stuff in the relationship that doesn't really agree with his family or the church. And that kind of brings a lot of shame on me. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm responsible for what we do in a relationship, and I'm bringing him down in some way. So I don't know what healthy boundaries to put up that would not cause me to have anxiety or panic.
When you do things in the relationship that they wouldn't agree with?
Yeah.
Like what?
Sexual intimacy.
Sexual intimacy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I think that is he doing this kind of because you're pressuring him into it? Or is he making this decision on his own? Not at all. Okay.
He's making the decision on his own. And he also like deals with porn too, which kind of like, and that's like a whole nother thing. But I don't know how to, like, I don't know if I enable him or what.
Okay, well, yes. I mean, if you allow it to be in your relationship, and then you're enabling it to be in your relationship. But what is your question? Ask me the question.
So like, what are healthy boundaries? Actually, so the question is this: what are healthy boundaries that it doesn't make me anxious or panicky?
Well, I don't know it. I don't know if the boundaries so much are going to be the solution to making you panicky or not. I think you've got some tiers of things to think about here. Okay,
Can
one
I
of
ask
the
you a question?
things. Sure, that's why you called. Ask me a question.
Yeah, with his porn addiction, I see why he would face that, like why he's going to that. And I think it's a coping mechanism, so I feel bad of holding him accountable for that because I feel like I'm not being understanding, so I just bottle everything up.
No, I don't think that's that. You know, if you're in a serious exclusive relationship, there are a lot of women that would feel the way you do. You don't want to share him with some fantasy object. There's a lot of reasons why that can be destructive to a relationship. One of them is basically, as you said, it can be used for a coping mechanism where people aren't really dealing with the real things they're anxious about and real dynamics. It's sort of like a drug. They turn to that, right? But another big problem with porn is that it's not a relationship. And when somebody's sexuality gets formed and their sexual functioning gets formed around a fantasized other, okay, not a real person, but a person that lives in their head, then they're in control of the other person and the relationship. And lots of things can be done to idealize, to be in control, to always have everything go your way, to have somebody pleasing you, to do so, or to do something really unhealthy in the fantasies or whatever. It's not a real relationship. And so what it does is it can compartmentalize the personality and fragment it, as well as it can keep people from developing real intimacy. Intimacy, the word intimacy means know, K-N-O-W. The biblical term for it is when Abraham knew Sarah. You've heard, somebody's going to know them in the biblical sense. Well, that's what sex is. It's the ultimate knowing someone. It's knowing all of the person, right? It's
Okay.
total intimacy. So porn is not knowing anybody. Okay. Porn is a
Okay.
fantasy. There's no person there. So it's screwing up probably or potentially the way his sexuality and personhood relates or doesn't relate. That's one of the big problems. And so then,
Okay.
there's comparisons. There's a lot of problems with that. But let's go back to the original question, and then I gotta get some other callers. What I would, I talked about the tiers here. Um, what I would want you, when you're thinking about these boundaries that you have sexually with him, I think you got to figure out what those boundaries are, and he's got to figure out what those boundaries are for a much better reason than it makes his parents upset. I think when we're talking about what our values are going to be and the way that we, like construct life, if the reason we're doing that is so somebody will not disapprove of us or be down on us or the church will frown upon it, that's not a real reason at all. And I think the two of you would do well, probably sit down with a good pastor or sit down with a good counselor and really think about, maybe you've just gone the way of what you've seen around you, that sex is just something trivial and to be, played with instead of what it actually is, the way it's designed. It's 100% of your physical self. And so I believe the way it's designed is when you give 100%, there's nothing more to give physically to somebody, then that should align with 100% of everything else being given to them. And what a lot of people do is they'll give 100% of their bodies, but they won't make 100% of their lives. That's what marriage is. That's why I think that's where it lives and belongs, because somebody's all in. Now, when you're dating, you're not all in, right? You hadn't really stepped up and thrown everything in. So why would you throw 100% of your heart or 100% of your body and 80% of your heart? See, that's now we're starting to compartmentalize and fragment the personality. There's all sorts of bonding and attachment that goes on there, that then you get, if that doesn't work out, you're ripped apart going, there's a lot of good reasons. But I don't think just keeping some parents happy would be at the top of the list. I think it's between you and your life and God and how you answer to or not answer to him. There's a lot of better reasons than that. The other thing is, he's 19 years old. And so he's in that funny land of in between being an adult and a child. And I think and this is where you could stop the enabling and say, you know what, I want to have a mature relationship. And porn doesn't really fit in that. And kind of like, hiding and manipulative behavior around parents, and that's still acting like a little child, sneaking around, that's not really mature either. And so I'd worry a little bit about a maturity conversation. And then you can agree or disagree with other adults, which his parents are. And he's getting to the age where, he's got to say, I know you disagree with how I'm living, but I love you and I hope you love me, and I'm choosing different paths. And they've got to acknowledge that he's an adult, and, it's his life. But I think we can all call each other to better paths. So I hope that's helpful. Thank you for your call. This is the Dr. Cloud Show, 844-940-2774. 844-940-2774 is our number to call and get on the show. Also, the place to find out more about what we talk about here and a lot of the courses and materials we have is at boundaries.me. That's boundaries.me. And also share the link to the program. Please share it with your friends. We're trying to build an audience here. We don't have any way to advertise this, guys. You drive down the freeways and you see, tune in to this show or that show. We don't have any of those billboards. It's just me and my little team and sitting in my backyard talking to you on the internet. This is a low production deal here. And so we don't have a big advertising budget. We need you to kind of do that for us, with us. Let's build a community. Let's get a growth movement happening here where people are encouraging each other like you're doing on Facebook. Let's go get healthy. Let's build some structures. Let's get in boot camp. Let's resolve relationship problems and all this other stuff. Let's do this together, okay? But we need you to share the link for us to build that with you, okay? We're going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to Meredith, who is calling us from South Carolina. I don't know where in South Carolina. And she wants to talk about rebuilding trust. Meredith, thank you for calling, and how can I help you?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so I guess my question is how do I trust someone in a new relationship?
Did you say in a new relationship?
Trauma. Yes. So I have trauma from a past relationship that pops up in different ways, and I have trouble trusting my current boyfriend, and I can't tell you anything he's specifically done. He hasn't done anything to lose my trust, but I guess I have this fear of, the fear that he's going to based on things I've experienced. So
Okay.
how?
So let me ask a couple of questions. The prior relationship, were you
Okay.
burned in one relationship or multiple relationships?
It was just one relationship.
This one. Okay. And that was a boyfriend or a
Mhm.
husband?
I was a boyfriend.
And how long was that relationship and what ages did that go from?
So we were really close friends for about 10 months, and then we, I guess, officially dated for 2. So
2 months? Two
I guess
months or 2 years?
for 2 months. 2
2
months.
months. And how long ago was this?
This was let me think. In 2018. Yeah, so 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 21.
You're 21. Okay. And so 2 years ago, you said? So you were 19. You were friends for a while. You dated for only 2 months. And then how did he betray you?
Mm-hmm. So, I guess there were multiple ways. I had sexual boundaries that he pushed a lot of the time. He would make me feel guilty about not doing things that he wanted me to do.
So it's
He
pretty
would,
controlling.
yeah, controlling, very made sexual comments towards me a lot of the time.
So
Just very crude.
disrespectful, kind of objectified you and didn't really love you and cherish you like the woman that you are and want to be loved, right?
Mhm.
And so,
Yeah.
and so after 2 months, you threw him out or said, go away.
Yeah, I think I just had a problem with saying no to people. And then I honestly think the Lord was just like, you can get out of this. And he was physically violating me. And I just kind of was like,
Oh, it sounds
no,
terrible.
I'm done.
But you did this after 2 months.
Yes, of
Right?
officially
Okay.
dating, I guess.
Okay. So now you have a new boyfriend. How long you been dating him?
We've been dating for over a year, just over a
Oh,
year.
wow. Wow. And so
Yeah.
how's he doing? How's he doing in all the showing up and being a good guy and loving you well categories? Or are you seeing any red flags?
I haven't seen any red flags. I think he's great. So I guess I kind of have this dissonance because I feel like he's going to hurt me, but he hasn't.
Okay. And he really is, after a year, he's really showing up in some good ways and being kind of what you need him to be.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's impressive. Let me give you a couple of categories to kind of use as a little checklist, and then I'm going to say something else. When I think about trust,
Okay.
I generally I think trust has an anatomy to it, and I'm going to give you. I want you to write these down. Okay, I'm going to give you 5 things.
Okay.
Number one, do you feel like he understands you? He makes an attempt to really understand you and your needs. Okay. Not just living in him and his world, but he really wants to understand what you need, what makes you feel good, what hurts you, really understand what you're going through. Number 2, do you feel like his motive, his intent is for you? He wants good things for you. He wants your life to work. His intention is not just for himself, and the relationship's not just for him, but also he's for you. Number 3, does he have the competencies to have a relationship? Can he communicate? Can he regulate his emotions? Can he delay gratification? Does he have the skills to work through problems, have difficult conversations? Okay, competency is a big one. How's his character? Earlier, we talked about permission to play, lie, cheat, and steal, unfaithfulness, all that kind of stuff. But more than that, some patience and some compassion, those kind of character traits. And fifthly, how's his track record? Does he have a history with you? Is he building a track record of delivering and showing up and doing all the things you need? If you check off those 5 things and you're finding, you know what, he's doing pretty well, then you start to ask, okay, I think the reticence is in me if he's really trustworthy. And so then the great thing to do, if you've really got somebody that's connecting with you and talking to you about these things or about life, then you can say, you know, it's weird. I kind of, the closer I get to you, I start to get scared and I start to imagine you're going to do this or that, and actually say it to him. And you know what? If he listens and says, well, that's terrible, I would never do that. I mean, if you're worried about me, here, check my cell phone. Read my texts, read my, put a GPS on my car. If he's an open book and he helps you to say, just tell him, I need you to help me build trust because I've been burned. And you guys make that a project together. That might be incredible pastures for you guys to get to know each other better and what hurts you and what your fears are. And also that he could enter in and talk about his. That might be a place to start. Does that help?
Yeah, that helps.
Okay, I want you to think about that. I'm gonna recommend a book to you. I wrote a book called How to Get a Date Worth Keeping, and there's some topics in there. Oh, you did? Okay, so all the character stuff in there.
Yes, I love that book.
Okay, well, go back now that you're dating him, and you guys talk about those character things, because there's some stuff in there. And as you talk about those, you're gonna get a feel that'll help you kind of get a feel. Am I seeing any red flags? Does he not want to, or wow, this guy's amazing. And so I got to run. I'm glad you called. I'm glad you asked about this. And I'm really glad. Can I give you a gold star put on your refrigerator?
Okay.
Or a smiley face or a gummy bear or something, a trophy. How about that? Do you know how old are you? You're 21?
Is
that right? Do you know how many women look back at their lives and go, oh my gosh, I wish at 21 I had the faith or the boundaries or the wherewithal to get rid of a boyfriend, after 2 months of not treating you well, that you saw that. We got to make you caller of the day. How about that? So way to go. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
This is the Dr. Cloud Show. Appreciate your call. I hope you and your boyfriend have a next good season, getting to know each other, and that goes to where it's supposed to go. How does this hour go by so fast? I don't know if it goes fast for you guys, but I love our callers. We could pull up a chair and sit out here in the backyard, and I'd love to hear more, but we can't do it. We're out of time. But I would like to hear from you, and our community would like to hear from you. If you go to Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, there's lots of comments that people leave, and they help each other. And I gotta say this. I say it over and over again. You guys are so awesome. The way you like you join in with each other, and you say, "I'm so sorry you're going through this. Here, I'd like to contact you offline and support you, or is there anything I can do?" And you guys are just amazing in helping each other out. I want to encourage you to do that. I want to encourage you to share the link, and also encourage you to visit boundaries.me and become a subscriber. We get to talk about things for a few minutes here on the program. Boundaries.me, you have hours and hours and hours and hours of content that I've put on there to help coach you and take you through all these different areas next step in a lot of different areas of life. Go find out about it at boundaries.me. And until then, which means tomorrow when we get together again, I hope you have a great 23 hours. Okay. Bye, guys. See you then.